outsourcing and systemizing takes time. It takes a lot of time. It is a worthwhile investment because once you get it right, it's fantastic. But because you can step back and go and do other things in your business or outside of your business. But getting it there is a headache. It's a headache because, you think that you're communicating clearly, but chances are you're really not. And I often, with my virtual assistant, a trick that I use is I say, right, here are your instructions. And she goes, okay, miss, I understood the instructions. And I say, please repeat back to me what you understood the instructions to be, right? Because there's a difference between these four things, right? In communication, you have four levels. You have what you mean, then what you say. Now, what you mean and what you say will be slightly different. You can do a lot in terms of being explicit in getting what you mean and what you say to be as similar as possible, but there will be a gap between what you mean and what you say. Now, this gap here involves loads of social expectations and assumptions about what you should do and how you should behave and what's expected of you. So if you don't make those things explicit, then that can cause a gap here between what you mean and what you say. Now, you also have what the other person hears. Now, there's a difference between what you say and what the other person hears. The best you can do is if the other person really, really listens, because they come to the table with all of their expectations about how things should be done, what people mean by what they say, they come to the table with all of that. So there will be a difference between the words that you say and what your listener hears. Now, there's also a difference between what the listener hears and what they understand. If you talk to me in Italian, there's gonna be, I don't speak Italian, I probably will be able to pick up bits. There's gonna be a difference between what I hear, the words I hear, and then what I understand. And it'll be a very big difference. And the problem is when you're trying to communicate in a team and manage a team and outsource your structure in your business, you're trying to function as if there is no gap at all between what you mean and what the other person understands. But of course, you have this whole process. What you mean is not quite what you say. What you say is not quite what your listener hears, and what your listener hears is not what they understand. Now, how do you close this gap? You close this gap by saying, once you've done this process, you say, right, listener, I said these words. Can you now tell me what you understood from what I said? You think it's super clear, but it's not, because you have all of these steps in the way, right? So you say back to them. So they say back to you what they understood from what you said. So I regularly, not often enough, because I often forget to do this, I think that I say something and they understand it, job done. No. What did you understand this procedure to be saying? So then you get back in this game of Chinese whispers how much of your original message actually got through, and you close this gap, right? And you bring it full circle. That is a key procedure that needs to be done when you're trying to manage a team and teach your staff to run your business. That is what I learned today about team management. Now, hopefully this will help you today in your life, in your relationships, in your business, to remember these four different things. And in order to close the gap with these four different things, you need to get the other person to repeat back to you what they heard in a way that is satisfactory to you. This doesn't just work in business. If you're in an argument with someone or you're having some conflict, then stop. Slow down and get the other person to repeat back to you exactly what they heard you say, what they think that you mean, and do not proceed in that conversation until that person has said to you something that makes you go, yes, that is exactly what I meant. Yes. When things don't go to plan, when you have teething problems, when you have bumps in the road, that is what is going to make your business and your relationships flourish. And that's all for today, folks.